All right, welcome. As you see, Andrew grew a beard
Yeah.
and looks a little bit different.
My pants got patched. I should do that. He's been wearing like solid pants for a couple months now.
He is. Welcome to this week's live Q&A, everyone. This is Randy, if you don't know him.
Hello?
Actual guitar player, which is awesome. Like in this business, not everyone that works for us is a guitar player, but Randy is, so I like that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
like I'm not a drummer.
I'm not technically a drummer, but I like playing drums.
Yeah.
So anyway, get your questions in. Anything is fair game. I have 2 things to talk about today. Actually 5, but we'll see if we get to them.
5 things.
5 long. Okay. It could be endless because it's about gear.
Yeah.
And Randy is really into gear. I like the reluctant side of myself. Anyway, if you have any questions on courses you're going through on the site, things that have come up in your playing, issues, building a practice routine, technique, whatever it is, get your questions in. I will check them either in the chat or in the inbox, and we'll get to those later. But today what I wanted to talk about was the project that I have going to SG.
Yes.
Which I have pictures loaded back there, so we're going to take a look at some of them, so it's really cool. And then just about some gear stuff in general. I know, Randy, you posted in the forums on that Kemper/IR real amp
Yes.
thread that I have going, which it doesn't, like at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter. It's just fun. It's a hobby within a hobby, right? Other than that, we'll talk about the blues a little bit. And that's if you guys don't have enough questions to fill up 45 minutes, let's say.
Yeah.
But we're gonna just play a little bit of heavier blues.
Heavy blues.
Yeah.
I don't play blues much, so we'll see how this goes.
You wanna start rhythm or you want me to start rhythm?
I'll start rhythm.
Okay, go.
I don't know if I'm ready to go start and lead.
I'm really curious to see what both of these amps sound like out there.
Yeah.
Because this is not a heavy amp. I got it set up to be a lot more aggressive than I normally would, but it sounds good. I mean, at least it sounds good in here.
And not that my playing deserves it, but there's not a lot of sustain on this one either. So like I'm going into there and like having to continue the notes a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a good thing. to get like put in situations where you can't really depend on the gear necessarily, which opens up the whole Pandora's box about gear.
Well, limitations will breed creativity.
That's true.
In everything.
Because I can't rely on whatever it is, whatever lick or whatever technique that I normally are on. So I'm gonna have to either think about note choices more, phrasing more, or just maybe a different technique that I would normally use, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, like picking a note. If I can't get the, I have to,
So like
hold
my
stuff
main
out.
guitar, I know on the 17th fret on the B string, it will choke out if I do a bend over one whole note bend.
Is that just some of the setup or the frets?
The fret is just a little bit dead. And that one spot on that one string, and I haven't fixed it yet.
Right.
It's part of it's knowing your gear.
Yeah, that's true. Which, I haven't played through an amp regularly in a long time. I've been playing through that one regularly. And like, I can get pinch harmonics better on it than I can on this one. I can, just like palm muting, everything is just a lot more. I'll instantly know where it is, right? Because I know my gear a little bit better. But regardless. Okay, there are no questions in there yet. So that means we're just going to talk about gear for a little bit. So if you have any questions about gear as we talk about it, or just about playing in general, go ahead and get those in. Ross back there has some pictures of a guitar that I've been working on. I just started, and I am literally the most ignorant person in the world on this. Like, I'm having to read everything, like from the ground up, watch a lot of YouTube videos, read a lot of books. Ross, let me know when the pictures are up. And then just kind of scroll through them like 10 seconds at a time. But this is a 1973 SG that somebody gave to me probably about 12 years ago.
Nice.
Somebody gave it to him, and he never played. He was like he was a bass player.
Okay.
But my good friend John Mitchell gave it to me. And it was in a house fire. It didn't actually get burned, but it got hot.
Yeah.
Because the house got hot, right?
Is that why the finish is all crackled and
That's
stuff?
why the finish is very, like, it's really soft, like borderline gummy. Like, I don't want to refinish it because that'll just kind of destroy the vintaginess of it. But the other part of me wants to just go ahead and do the whole thing.
It's gummy?
It's very soft.
Okay.
It's, I don't know how else to describe it. Like, it has the same finish as this one, nitrocellulose finish.
Yep.
But it's like, if you dig into it with your thumb, you could probably peel some of it off. That's the way it feels.
Okay.
It's just soft, like a gummy bear or something. But it's cloudy looking, but I don't know. Like, I decided at first to refinish it, and then I decided, no, I'm not going to do it.
It's going to end up looking like the SRV Strat, where all the finish is just like peeled off.
Eventually, yeah. Like, I wouldn't restain it. I would just put a nuclear, like sand it down and put a nuclear coat on. I don't know if that would even work.
Nitrocellulose melts into itself. So you could do nitro on the top of nitro.
So maybe just give it an evening out sand and then do nitro on top of that.
That's the trick if it's sanding. I think you'd probably use like a scrub pad.
Okay. Because it has some really weird things going on with some of the parts of the finish.
It'd be one of those things where you have to be willing to refinish it again if it goes wrong.
I mean, it's either leave it or do the whole thing ground up. So I don't know. But like the first step I had for this was to take the frets out. And like the fret work is something I've always been very scared to do on my own guitars because you can really mess the fretboard up, gouging it. You can do a whole lot of work and then it just be crap because you're inexperienced, right? But this one, the frets were so ground down and so thin. It's like, I'm not going to really mess anything up. It's already a vintage guitar that has a lot of dents and cracks in it. So I ended up pulling the frets out. I learned a ton about pulling frets out. If you want to hear about it, I'll tell you, but I'll spare you most of the details.
Well, I noticed you didn't have a lot of tear out on yours.
No, there's a couple spots, but not even enough to where I don't even think I'm going to fill them. I may do a little bit of super glue once I resurface the fretboard, but I'm not going to bother with wood powder or anything to fill. There's like 2 spots that are like, I could use it, but it's pretty good. It's pretty interesting. Next time I do it, it'll be a lot faster and a lot easier. For sure.
When you're doing it, I think I saw part of the video, you're heating it up with an iron first and then pulling them?
Yep.
Because that softens the glue enough to pull them out? Or?
Yes, somebody told me it softens the glue and ruins the glue, I guess, essentially, right? Because the super glue crystallizes it and kind of breaks it down. But then what it also does is you put water on the fret, on each side of it, just with a Q-tip or a paintbrush or something. As you're heating it up, it makes the wood soft. So when you pull out the fret out, it doesn't chip as much. It's more like, how wet wood is, right?
Yeah, so you're steaming it, basically.
And that worked beautifully. And the key was buy good tools, which I did, and be very patient. Use heat and water if you need to. Like if there would have been more meat on the frets to pull up, I probably would not have had to use as much heat or water. But there was
They
like
were
almost
so
nothing to
low.
yeah, almost nothing to grab onto. So it made it really tough. So the next one I do, I think it'll be a breeze.
Yeah.
But that's the first step, and there's a lot of tools that need to be bought and a lot of things that need to be learned before I move on to the next step, which is cleaning out the fret slots.
Yep.
I got to buy a couple tools for that, and then I have to buy a radius sanding block just to even out the fretboard because it's kind of it's got a lot of divots and things in it from over the years.
What is the radius on that one?
I'm not sure. That's what I have to. I ordered some radius gauges for guitar setup, which I need to order anyways. So
Probably
I
like 10
ordered
or 12
those.
inches.
I think it's pretty flat. Yeah, like somewhere. Yes, I think it's around 12.
Yeah.
I could be wrong though. So it's not 9. I know it's flatter than that.
Do Gibsons make 9s?
I don't even know. We'll see though. As soon as I get the radius gauges in, I'm measuring it, then ordering a radius sanding block that day. So
That's the same tools I have to get, and then a sanding beam because I need it for 11 frets.
yeah, I want to get one too, but a lot of the things, like the smaller files with the wooden handle on. I think I'm gonna start with that because that'll take care of the edges, and it'll take care of the top ones. I've heard a lot of arguments against using full sanding beams versus
Doing them
using
individually?
smaller ones. No, not individually, but like one that covers maybe
Yeah, the ones that are
6
like
or
this
7
long
foot.
rather than this long.
Mhm. I don't know. Like the ones that are radius make
Yeah.
a lot of sense, but if you have compound radius, you need to see what you're doing.
Oh,
every
so you're
stroke.
going to do a radius beam for the frets and for the fretboard?
No, I'm gonna do a radius sanding block for the naked bare fretboard.
for the wood part.
Just to take some of the crap and gunk off, and then once I get the frets in, I will do just a regular file, if that makes any sense. That's a lot. It's so much. Every time I do a step, I'm like, oh no! I just realized that there are 3 more steps before the next one that I thought.
You got to watch like the video 4 times.
Yeah,
And,
and make sure you're not going to screw anything up. Cool. Let me see what's going on in the chat. Oh man, I'm so behind. Let's see. Oh, it's not too bad. Mike Bonilla says, "Say Nate, did you move the Q&A to Wednesdays instead of Tuesdays?" Yes, we did. The main reason behind that was that we release YouTube videos on Tuesdays and Fridays. So we wanted to kind of stagger our content on YouTube just so people weren't missing stuff. So Tuesdays are YouTube release, like a new lesson. Wednesdays are live, whether it's a Q&A or student focus. And Fridays are another lesson. And Mondays I do like the super casual, just me by myself, guitar hangout where we talk about, whatever it is that I'm currently going through. It just made it easier for us.
Because that's when you did your reprint, right? It was Monday?
Yes, that's when I yanked them out. And it was, I don't know, man, it brought up so many other issues. Like, okay, I have to learn either how to repot pickups, if that's possible, or just buy new ones, or I don't know. Can you restore potentiometers? I don't know.
I've never tried with potentiometers just because they're $5 parts.
Yeah, I would not care at all if it wasn't a vintage guitar. I'll just put new ones in it.
That's fair.
There's a couple questions. Stephen Arnott, I hope I said that right, man. Says, have you guys ever had a guitar plecked? Any opinions about the benefits or lack thereof of the process? So this guitar came from the factory plecked.
Don't PRSs get plecked too?
I'm not sure.
I think their factory has a machine. I think that all the cores go through it.
I don't know. But it takes the human element out of fretting a guitar, which is vast as I'm currently learning. But it's just better for intonation and just consistency as far as dead frets or consistency of action up and down the fretboard.
Well, the goal is to have it basically completely level when it's adjusted, right?
Yeah, exactly. I know people give Gibson a really hard time, but this guitar, I freaking love this guitar except for one thing. Two things, the D and the G strings.
Yeah.
Like the Gibson headstock is just inherently bad for D and G string staying in tune. But everything else on this guitar, I freaking love. Like the setup is always great. It sounds really good. It's just something I made a conscious decision. I was like, okay, if I buy this, I'm gonna have to deal with the Les Paul tuning issue. And I was like, okay.
Well, it
whatever.
would look kind of silly if it was a V formation of.
It would, but I'm like thinking, can't you move these in a mil each? Or a centimeter each?
It actually looks like they're angled out a little bit this way.
Yeah. So.
But they won't change anything because otherwise purists will
PR, yeah. I don't
get
know.
mad.
I don't know. It seems, because the first thing I did when I bought this guitar is I had the nut removed and I had a brand new one cut.
Mm-hmm. The angle.
Yeah.
Well, also this is, I think, 17 degrees, the tilt back angle, which puts more tension on the nut. And
Yeah.
the Epiphones are 13.
Oh.
Which makes it a little bit shallower, so they actually have less problems on the Epiphones than the
That
Gibson.
doesn't surprise me. I saw, when I was at a guitar store, I saw more headstocks broken off of Gibsons than Epiphones all the time.
Well, it's because of that tilt back angle. Because
If
on the
it-
Epiphones, the back of the headstock's aligned with the back of the body.
Okay.
So if it falls, this will take part of the...
No, like most of the time it was from falling forward.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Most of the time when I saw Gibson headstocks break off. But like if you saw a Gibson going down off a stand, you're like, well,
Bye.
see ya.
That's going to be a $300 repair and it'll never sell the same.
Yep. But we had a guy that, other than like, it would be like a darker. Other than that, you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can do amazing
really
things with
good.
their finish. On black
Alex-
ones, they always do it really well.
Yeah, well, actually, I never saw a black one done. I was always cherry. Alex Blaine says in the chat, there was a rhythm in a song I really liked, but I couldn't figure out how to do it despite it being simple. But watching you guys last week helped me figure out how to do it. What song was that, Alex? Because last week was Student Focus. Let us know in the chat what song was that. That's great that you got it figured out. The thing with like figuring out rhythms, it's like hearing a new word. Like if you're just learning another language, you're like, I don't remember that, I don't understand it. After the 5th or 6th or 10th time you hear it, you're like, oh, I know what that is.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with rhythms. You start to memorize little rhythmic patterns, you're like, oh, that's what that is. So be encouraged. Like this is just the beginning of a long process, but the more rhythms you learn, the faster you'll get at it.
And there
too,
aren't
so.
really that many rhythms. Like lots of them are just combinations of other like chord rhythms you learn.
Yeah, especially if you're listening to the same type of music over and over again, you notice that there's not a whole lot that's different from song to song, or at least in your lexicon of whatever.
In pop and
vocabulary.
rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jazz, different story. Let me check this. Okay. So, I was playing today. I'm going to clean up this tone a little bit. I don't even know if I can reach that. Don't worry about it. I'll just do it with volume. So I was playing, I was going through some blues books last night.
Yeah.
And okay, now I'm going to play the 4 chord and you play just an A minor or just an A blues scale. Okay?
You're killing me. I don't know this stuff. I'm a metal boy. A. Starting on the 5th.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That one? Okay, now I want to play the 5 chord and play the same thing. And then back to the 4. Keep playing it. Okay, back to the 1. Okay, when I had a looper pedal going today,
Yeah.
and I was trying some of the things that I was reading in this book last night, and I noticed I was like, I had just an A7 chord.
Yeah.
Sorry, I went through all 3 chords
Yeah.
and just played blues scale, and then put it to the 4 chord. And then went to the 5 chord.
That'd be a very call and response type thing.
Well, I was just seeing how the scale sounded over each chord with outside of the context of a 12-bar blues progression.
Yeah.
And I had the A7 going. Sorry, I had the 4 chord, the D7 going, just over and over again, and playing the A blues scale over it, and it sounded like crap. I was like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
Like thinking about my own personal playing is like, why would I stay on an A blues scale the entire time when I'm playing over a 4 chord? It just doesn't make sense unless I'm just hitting.
Yeah.
Even then, that note.
I can definitely relate because I don't have the mobility with scales, right? So
Right.
it's like I feel stuck in the one scale.
That one scale. And yeah, so what it was doing is going through and giving you options for doing stuff like that. Whether it's changing your blues scale to fit over the 4, like switching to a D minor. Or whether you're switching to a D minor arpeggio. Something like that. Or switching to a major arpeggio. Or whether you're switching down a lower third to what is essentially like a D major pentatonic. For like a more country or kind of straight ahead way of thinking about it. But instead of just staying on the A blues scale, when you go to that 4 chord, like when I land on the 4, it sounds good. If I don't land on the 4, it's like, what are you trying to say?
Yeah.
And that's one, like this whole, I literally read through, it's called Mastering the Blues. I read through the entire book last night. It's like 150 pages because my back was hurting. I just sat in bed and read.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll try a lot of this stuff tomorrow. And sure enough, I got here and I tried the A minor blues scale over the D7 chord. I was like, man, this just doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
Without actually thinking about what notes are going where. So that's like what I think I'm going to be concentrating on in the next 2 or 3 months. It's just putting on an A7 chord or change keys like once a week.
Yep.
Or change keys every week. But just put the 1 chord on. And then put the 4 chord on.
Yeah.
And then back to the 1. And then just really isolating the chords. That way, when I hear somebody playing a blues, like, oh, they're going to the 4 chord, I can hear it. I should either be doing, the root blues scale, the A blues scale. You could do a D blues scale, a D7 arpeggio, D minor arpeggio, D major arpeggio. Any of those things are, like a mixolydian scale, just emphasizing the notes in a D chord. But that's like what I want to do for the next 2 or 3 months, among 1,000 other things.
Yeah.
But like that looper pedal is the best tool for that I could hope to come up with.
Which looper pedal do you have?
Just the least expensive, smallest Ditto looper from TC Electronic. Yeah.
I had the loop station for a while. It was just too intimidating.
It's like options. This, isn't it?
It's the single pedal still.
Oh, okay, just the boss one?
But it's like the top loop station with a million options in it.
Okay.
And I was like, I need a Ditto looper.
Like this one, I still don't even know how to use. All I know how to do is record a loop and then playback. That's it. There's 4 or 5 other really significant functions on it that I haven't even covered yet. But that's all I need it for. All I need to do is 2 bars. That's it.
Yeah.
At least right now, I'll get to where I want to go through the whole 12-bar blues progression and know exactly what notes I'm playing and actually choosing everything super intentionally. I
know with 12-bar blues, it's one simple pattern. But there's so many different ways you can tackle that.
Yeah, and the cool thing about this is all the concepts I was going through with that book. It's it was like hearing not new words, but words I've heard that before. I've never used that word in that way. Yeah. But filing those away and getting to where you can play them in any of the 5 positions on the fretboard because of that jam camp that's coming up with.
Yes.
Can I mention that?
Yeah, we can. It's live.
With Justin Sanderco. He's coming out here, and it's a camp all about jamming with people. And there's only 1 spot left anyways, right? But it's going to be heavily focused on blues. So I really want to have my blues chops brushed up for that.
Yeah.
To where if I hear something in my head, I know exactly where to go to it. The key for that is I'm working in A blues. The keys surrounding it, right here, are super relatable because all the shapes are relatively the same spots. But once you get up to C and D, I have a big time. I'm gonna have a hard time transferring that as easily to those keys. But the more and more I do it, the more I think my ear's gonna take over instead of thinking about shapes and stuff. Oh, let's see some questions in here. Okay. Alex Blaine says it was Baby's First Sideburns by Roswell Kid. I couldn't quite get it, but copying each hand motion I saw was able to do it.
I'm not familiar with the song. But
Me neither, but I like the name. Alex says, it was pretty different from the song that you guys were doing. In fact, I can't remember which one, unfortunately. Okay, that's cool. I don't remember either. I slept since then, so. Ivan Reed says, speaking of pedals, I received my Bossiest one. It's great. Awesome.
Nice.
That's one pedal every time I'm on Craigslist. It's like just perusing through gear. I'm like,
Because they're like $40.
They're $40, and I've heard some really good tones too. Like Joe Satriani still has one on his pedal board till this day. I've heard a lot of good recordings with them. You have to be really careful with how you use them, but
I never could get it quite where I wanted it to, but I think that's my fault and not the pedal's fault. Because I've heard lots of people make it sound really good, but it's one of those things where...
it depends what you're using it for too.
Yeah. Well, and I was putting it in like... I don't think the amps I had at the time were very good either.
Yeah.
So it's one of those...
I saw, was it Ola?
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it, but he put a metal zone into the power amp section of an amp, and I was like, you know what? I bet a lot of distortion pedals sounded really good like that.
Yeah. I tried the same thing actually
Yeah?
after I saw that video, because I have a metal zone.
Oh yeah?
So I could shoot it out sometime, but...
that was my first pedal.
Yeah. Running into the power amp, 100% better. Doesn't sound like bees at all. 'Cause that's like the thing, is like it's got this like fizzy bee-like thing going on when you put it in the front of an amp.
Yeah, I was running it into the front of a PV solid state amp at the time. I don't know. Back then, no. Well, we're going to pick.
I was in a band with a guy back in 2007-ish, and he was a huge Metal Zone evangelist. And he didn't even like playing metal or anything, but he's like, that pedal gets a bad rap, and he talked about how he put it into like the like effects loop in all the time. Yeah. And I was just like, you're crazy.
It's heavy, man.
And I still remember that conversation, and then he's getting vindicated like 10 years. I'm gonna have to call him up and be like, you were right. I was wrong. Man. I'm sorry.
Well, I have one more topic unless Randy has other things to talk about. If you have any questions, guys, submit them either in the chat or below the video in the question box. Let me see if I missed anything over here. I don't think so. The last thing I have to talk about is just the forum post that we kind of already mentioned. Yeah. Because I'm going back and forth between wanting to buy a Kemper, or it's the only direct solution that I have not owned or really tried yet.
Yeah.
I pretty much owned all the Line 6 stuff. I'm not even close to being sold on the XFX. But Kemper is something that like I could get behind, but spending $2,500 on something when I could go out and get 3 nice amps, and then a load box with a speaker cabinet emulation in it, and record silently at home anytime I want. It's 2 different worlds, man. In the forum post that we were talking about this, I said it's like running on a treadmill versus running outside. They both get the job done. One's more convenient and one's way more fun.
Yeah.
Like outside is a tube amp, cranked, wind blowing in your hair, it's awesome. But it rains, it gets cold, it gets dark. You can't always go outside and run. Kemper is, you don't get any wind through your hair, literally, because there's no speakers moving. But you can do it anytime you want, day or night, doesn't matter.
Well, Kemper does have a built-in power amp, so you could have air moving. That kind of defeats the purpose.
I probably wouldn't use that very much.
Yeah.
But even then, it's a solid-state power amp. Yeah. That is not attractive to me at all.
Well, the kind of the other part of it is there's another option, which is like modern tube amps, because you have like the Hughes and Kettner ones with the, what is it called? I always want to say red box, but it's not red box.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The speaker emulation outs.
It's got speaker emulated outs. The PV Invective has like all sorts of different balanced load outs. But again, those are way more expensive because you could get a JCM 800 now for like $1,000. You can get a Plexi for around that.
Yeah.
You can get 5150 block letter for $800.
Yep.
Because people are all getting rid of their 100-watt tube heads.
Yeah.
So it's like,
So the answer is both, but I'm not made of money, right? And
wow, spending $3,200 on a Kemper and then also having
yeah, you can't. Like I can't justify
$4,000
having
amps.
I would like
It's hard.
anything I do is going to be used.
Yeah.
Used Kemper or used amps.
Yeah.
But I thought I was settled on a Kemper until was it Monday night?
Mm-hmm.
I remembered that amp had a direct line recording out, with silent, to where you don't have to have a speaker cab plugged into.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a load on it at all. You just flip the switch on and run it the direct line out into your audio interface, and then I threw on some impulse responses into Logic and Space Designer. And I cranked it up, and it's like, oh, this sounds like crap. I was like, well, let me load a different IR. And I was like, oh my goodness, what the heck? It sounded as good as miking it up in here.
The IR is at least 50% of the tone,
It's one of the,
if not 80%.
it's one of the Celestion ones,
Okay, yeah.
and I found those to be really good.
The Own Hammer ones are pretty good.
I have a ton of those.
And then, yeah. There's one I have on my computer that I really love. I have no idea what it is. The name on it is just like 4x12 with a SM57. That's the only name I have. I think it might be like modeling vintage 30s maybe, but I think there's something else in the mix. I have no idea where it came from. I downloaded it probably 2 years ago. No idea where from, but I love it and I want more like that, but I don't know what it is.
It's tough, man, because like for gigs where I actually go play somewhere, I want to buy like a Rock Crusher recording with the analog speaker sim EQ on it, just because I find that really flexible. But for home, I would just use IRs. And that head, I don't know if you picked it up, but it's super light for a tube head. It's like, what? So I don't know, man. I think the only reason I don't like this holding back from getting a Kemper is the fun factor of having a bunch of amps. And then the second factor of, if I have all of these options, I'm going to have like option paralysis. Yeah. Right? It's almost better to just have like 3 amps that you really like and just go with those.
Well, and switching between tones when you have 5 amps is a little bit of a chore unless you got like a big switcher set up and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, man. It'll become evident over the next 3 months.
I feel like I'll never know. I feel like no matter what I did, I would be always looking at something else.
Well, yeah, that's true, and that's one of the things. Like if I have the amps, like I'm way less likely to get rid of an amp than I am some kind of digital solution. But I did compare that amp last night, rigged up direct with bias effects. Okay. I was like, is just as good, if not better sounding. Yeah. With like not tweaking the tone hardly at all and just throwing one IR on it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, crap, I'm back at square one, man. So I don't know.
If you had to choose 3 amps, which would you choose?
I really like that one, so that would be one of them. Yeah. I'll probably get some kind of Marshall, like maybe like a DSL 50. Okay. And then probably a Rivera Knucklehead.
What's that one like?
It's kind of like the clean channel is very Fendery. Yeah. But it's kind of like a cross between a Mark IV and a Marshall. Okay. It's more aggressive than a Marshall and more scooped, but it's not as like scooped as a Boogie. Mm-hmm. It's still got a lot of mids, and it comes with.
I know if you look at your tone controls on your setup, they're not noon.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
But what was I gonna say? I can't remember. Anyway, they're EL34s too, which is not normal for a Boogie either, so it'd be different enough from that. But it's still just 50 watts.
Because the EL34s are gainier, right?
Yeah, they're just like sharper. This is 84, so it's really smooth. Okay. But it's still aggressive, but it's smoother. It's not like nothing like a rectifier. Yeah. Not nearly as aggressive as that. Let's see. I think that's it, man. Unless you guys have any last minute questions, or unless I'm missing something. Have you ever tried to play through a blues and hit the root notes of the changes?
Long time ago.
Long time ago.
It would have been right before I was working on that at the end of the last time I was playing. So it would have been like, last time I've truly played like blues stuff, 2012?
Oh, wow. I'm still stuck in like 2017.
Because I took a 5-year break. It's 2012. Does that work out? 2017? Yeah. So I picked up fall 2017. I would have started playing again.
What, do you want to try it?
Sure, why not?
Okay, so
Show me the notes. Show me the notes, Nate.
that's your main one. Doesn't matter whatever you do, like over the one chord.
Where's my volumes? They're wrong.
And then just right across from that is the 4. Yeah. And then the 5. Or up, yeah. So those are the only notes you have to worry about.
Okay.
Everything else is dribble in between. So,
All right.
So you're like,
So we're doing 12-bar blues.
mm-hmm.
It's 4 of the
Yeah.
1,
Yeah.
2 of the 4,
Yep.
and then 4 of the 1,
Oh, 2.
2 of the 1.
Mm-hmm.
I was messing you up a bunch of times there. in our opening jam. And then 2 of the 1, and then the 5, and then the 4.
And
then the 1
and the 5. Yeah, I can call them out to you if you want. That
Yeah.
helps me. Like when somebody's saying improvise over this change, I'm like, just yell the chord progression at me.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that helps me hit changes better too. Okay, so 1, 4, and 5. Cool. Make sense?
Makes sense. Let's
So
try
1,
it.
2, 3, 4. Oh, it's like move it down.
Oh, because I'm in the
1.
wrong position, right?
Yeah. You started off on the right note. There you go. That's it. So you want. Yeah, there you go. So the 1, 4, 5.
Which is
Yeah.
there. Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4 chord. 1 chord. Comes the 5. 5. 4. 1. Okay,
I messed that up, but-
Can you play the chords on that? Just A, D, and E. Yeah, your power chords are good.
I can't speak and do it at the same time.
That's it. So, like that to me, that's like exercise number 1, ground zero for starting to think about. And I have a long way to go on this.
Yeah.
And like Paul Gilbert says the same thing, and he has a long way to go on this as far as being able to like sing something and playing it, and hitting the chord tones. But like literally, if you do that, if you just go root and then. And then land on the root, and then it goes to the 4 chord, right? And then you go. And land it on the 4, right? And like you can hear the blues being played when you do that, so that's like what I want to take to the next level as far as choosing different arpeggios, choosing different scales other than the parent blues scale. But if you haven't done that exercise, and if you have a way to like record your guitar or a friend who plays the blues, I'd really recommend just doing a really slow blues. And it's gonna seem like a lot of mental exertion at first.
Yeah.
Especially like you're, good Lord, I have to do this for 5 shapes. I can't even do it for 1. But once you get the 1 down, your ear's gonna start to take over, and you're gonna see these patterns just like recurring. This is the same shape.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm in my, you know it's an A. That's right.
Yeah.
Same shape. So I know my 4 is right there, and I know my 5's right there. and you're going to get to where, my ear can automatically hear where their 5 is or where 4 is. And your blues will get a lot better. So that's my motivation. That's what I'm going to do. I think the next few courses I'm going to do in the members area are going to be more blues based.
I lied earlier because I did blues 1 when I came back to the guitar, I think.
Why you lie to me?
Blues 1. I'm sorry. I'm trying to correct.
I think that's it.
Forgive me.
Not
Nate
a whole lot of
Fragson.
questions today. Let me check the chat one more time, and then we will sign off.
All right.
Let's see. Check. I think that's it. Guys, if you have any questions throughout the week, always check the forum. We're in there to help you out with whatever you need, or if you need help getting into a learning path on the Guitareo website, we're always there to help you. Check out the learning path page. That's like ground zero, number one, what you should do or do to get started with the Guitareo members area. So other than that, if you haven't submitted your student focus videos yet, I know a couple people have, and they're for next month, be thinking about that because it will sneak up on you and it will be here before you know it. Cool?
All right.